Hello, welcome back to Cinderella Math. Today I'll be doing a new way to use synthetic division where the divisor in the problem is a quadratic. So it's kind of like a double synthetic division. Usually I would do long for this, but this is an interesting way to try it out. All right, so let's just jump right in. I'll do a couple examples and I'm going to show you with synthetic, but I'll be checking it with long division. That's just me making sure my answer is right. You don't necessarily have to check it with long division, but I'll show you how you can. All right, so here's our first problem. 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed plus 5x minus 1. All of that divided by this quadratic divisor, x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now note on the dividend, the first number there, we technically have 0 x squares. We do need to account for that, whether you're doing long or synthetic. We do need to put in that 0 placeholder. All right, to do synthetic with a quadratic, you do need this leading coefficient to be 1. So we have that. I'll do one here in a minute where we don't, and I'll show you what to do to fix it. So we're good. And now you're going to take these other two coefficients, so the 3 and the 2, and just negate them. So if they would have been negative, they would have turned positive. But these are both positive. So over here in our little box to the side, we're going to negate both of those. So we're going to have negative 3 and negative 2. Leave a little space in between them so it doesn't run together. And then just like normal synthetic, we're going to take the coefficients of the dividend, including that 0 there. Don't forget him or it won't work out. So we have 2, 3, 0, 5, negative 1. Just like regular synthetic, you're going to skip a line, draw a line, and then do it again. Skip a line, draw a line. Okay? You're going to drop this first number all the way down and drop the second number halfway down. So that's kind of your setup there. Now it's always going to be this bottom number that multiplies. So don't multiply anything else except if you're at the very bottom. And you're going to go to that far left one first. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Put that in the next column. And then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Put that in the next column. Add straight down, add straight down. Okay, now only focusing on the bottom, this is your multiplier. Go to the far left first. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 in the next column. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6 in the next column. Add straight down, add straight down. And then you are going to do that one more time. At the very bottom, here's your multiplier to the very far left. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 in the next column. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 in the next column. Add straight down, and then drop down. This last, you don't multiply again, you just drop. These final two are your remainders. So usually in synthetic, when we just have a linear divisor, so like when it's a divide like x plus 4, you just have one remainder. You have one digit as a remainder, a constant. But since it's a quadratic divisor, we will have a linear remainder. So that means give this guy an x, and the 11 will stay a constant, the negative 11. And now over here, this is your quotient. The 5 will stay a constant, give him an x squared. So we are looking at a final result here. I'm going to write it at the top in black pen of 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 plus a remainder of negative 4x minus 11 all over the original divisor. That's what I would be looking for in that black box as my final result. Now I will use long to check this. If you don't need to see the long, just fast forward to my next example. Sorry, this example 1. I'll put example 2 on the next one. So if you want to fast forward, feel free. So using long to check, we still need to make sure we put in that 0 placeholder. All right. We need what times x squared would be 2x to the 4th. Well, he would need a 2 and 2 more x's. That is 2x to the 4th, 6x cubed, 4x squared. Subtract, cancel, 3 minus 6, negative 3, 0 minus 4, and drop down. Okay. X squared times what is the new first term? So it needs a negative 3 and an x. Distribute would be negative 3x cubed. I have a whole video on long division if you need it. Feel free to look on my channel. Negative 9x squared and negative 6x. Minus, this would turn to plus and cancel. This would turn to plus and be 5. This would turn to plus and be 11. Drop down. One more time. X squared needs to look like the new first term, so he just needs a 5. Distribute. That's 5x squared. 3 times 5, so 15x. 2 times 5, so 10. Subtract, cancel. 11 minus 15 is negative 4x. Negative 1 minus 10 is negative 11, and there's your remainder. You can't go again because x squared times what is this? It doesn't work. So there's your remainder. There's your quotient. So from long division, we have a quotient of 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 plus a remainder of, down there in the green, negative 4x minus 11 over the original divisor. Does that match? Yes, indeedy. Pretty cool. Okay, that's example 1. I've got a second one. Six x cubed plus 10x squared plus x plus 8, so we don't need any zeros there, divide 2x squared plus 1. So technically on this one, on the divisor, we have 2x squared plus 0x plus 1. All right, now for this to work, we need this front coefficient, the leading coefficient of the divisor, to be 1. Well, it's not. Well, we can make it. If we just divide by 2, but then we got to be fair and divide by 2 all the way across. So that would now give us x squared plus 0x plus a half. Now we can do this problem. The opposite of 0 is still just 0, and the opposite of half is negative half. So there's our kind of box. And then take your coefficients here. 6, 10, 1, 8. Now, since we divided by 2 here, at the end, we need to make a note. We're going to divide the quotient by 2 at the end to be fair. You won't have to divide the remainder because it's over this. It's over the divisor, which is we've already dealt with. So you'll just have to divide the quotient by 2. Okay. Set it up with your double lines. Drop all the way down. Drop halfway down. Only multiply at the very bottom. So you're going to do 6 times 0 in the next column. 6 times negative half in the next column. Add, add. Only on the bottom is your multiplier. So you're going to do 10 times 0 in the next column. 10 times negative half in the next. Add, add, drop down. The last 2 are your remainders. This is your constant. Give him an x. And now here's your quotient. Remember, we divided the original divisor by 2 to get this going. So we need to be fair and divide the quotient by 2, not the remainder, because he's going over the divisor and we've already dealt with that. So just divide the quotient by 2, which will make this a 3 and a 5. This is a constant, give him an x. So we're looking at a final answer. I'm going to write it at the tip top left in pink. 3x plus 5, there's your quotient, plus a remainder of negative 2x plus 3 all over the original divisor. The one I have scratched out there, the original, without the 0. Okay, I will use long to check. Again, if you want to fast forward this, you could. If you don't want to see the checking, this was 2x squared. Okay, doing the long division. Okay, ask yourself, we need this to look like this. So 2 times 3, and he'll need one more x. So that would be 6x cubed, and that would be 3x. So make sure that's going under the x. There's a 1 there. Subtract, cancel. He'll just drop straight down. 1 minus 3, and drop straight down. And then go again. Ask yourself, 2x squared needs to look like 10x squared. So we're going to times him by 5, which is 10x squared. 1 times 5 is 5. Make sure that's at the constant. Subtract. This will cancel. Drop straight down. And there you go, remainder. So we get an answer of 3x plus 5 as our quotient, plus a remainder of negative 2x plus 3 over the original divisor. Does that match the pink that we got from synthetic? Yes. Okay. All right, I have 2 more for you. I have an example 3. It's x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 1 divide x squared minus 2x plus 3. Now you will note we have 0x cubes and 0x. We will have to put those placeholders in. And now you will note on the divisor that it does have an invisible 1 right there, so we are good to go. All right, so for synthetic, we make our box. Take this middle term, flip it to be a 2. The last term, flip it to be a negative 3. And now the coefficients of the dividend, that's an invisible 1, 0x cubed, 3x squared, 0x, and a 1. Draw your double lines, drop all the way down, drop halfway down, and always the bottom you multiply. Starting on the left one, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Add, add, and always on the bottom, there's your multiplier. Starting on the left, 2 times 2 is 4, and the right, negative 6. Add, add. Multiply. Starting on the left, that's 8. That's negative 12. And just add on the bottom one. Well, actually, no, add on both, and then drop that second one down, and these last 2 are your remainder. And again, it's a 2 remainder because it's a linear remainder. So this one's a constant, give him an x. Constant x squared. So up at the tip top right, I'm getting a final answer of x squared plus 2x plus 4 plus a remainder of 2x minus 11 over the original divisor. I will use long to check. Feel free to skip this if you don't want to check. We still do need to put in those placeholder zeros. If you don't, it won't work out quite right. All right, ask yourself, x squared needs to turn to x4, so he needs 2 more. Distribute, distribute, distribute. Subtract. This, oh, this is a 4. This cancels. 0 minus minus would turn to plus. 3 minus, okay, that cancels and drop down. So I'm going to say 0x squared, 0x. Okay, and now ask yourself, we need our beginning x squared to look like 2x cubed, so he needs a 2 and 1x. Distribute would be 2x cubed. Distribute would be minus 4x squared. So that's why I brought the 0, so that something's there. And then positive 6x. Subtract. This cancels. Minus minus turns to plus. And 0 minus 6. Drop down. One more time. Ask yourself, x squared needs to look like 4x squared, so he just needs a 4. That is 4x squared. That's minus 8x. And positive 12. Subtract. This cancels. Minus minus turns to plus. 1 minus 12 is negative 11. Remainder. So we have a quotient of x squared plus 2x plus 4 plus a remainder of 2x minus 11 over the original divisor. Did that match? Yes. And I have one more example where the beginning number is not a 1. So this is my final example, example 4. Find it. Got it. I have 2x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x plus 15 divide 2x squared minus x plus 5. There's a 1 there. Okay, but there's not a 1 in the beginning. So we need to divide that whole divisor by 2. So that will give us 1x squared minus half x plus 5 halves. Okay, now we can do it. Let's make a note. Since we did the whole divisor by 2, when we're done, we're going to have to do the quotient divided by 2. Not the remainder, because that's going over the divisor, which we've already dealt with, just the quotient at the end. Okay, reverse this to be regular half. Reverse this to be negative 5 halves. And now we have 2, 5, 2, 15. Set up, drop all the way, drop halfway, only multiplying on the bottom, starting with the left. 2 times a half is 1. 2 times negative 5 halves is negative 5. Add, add. Only on the bottom do we multiply. 6 times a half is 3. 6 times negative 5 halves is negative 15. Add, add. And drop down. Did I miss a 0 somewhere? No, we're good. These last 2 are your remainders. So we actually have a remainder of 0. That's nice. The front 2 are your quotient. But remember we made this note up here. I'm circling in pink. We have to divide that quotient by 2. So cut these each in half. So that'll be 1 and 3. Here's your constant. Give him an x. So final answer is just x plus 3 with no remainder. So that's pretty nice. I will use long to check. Again, feel free to skip this if you want. When you're doing long, you don't have to divide this by 2. You're just going to do it as normal. Let's see if we can get the answers to match. So we need 2x squared to look like 2x cubed. So he's just missing an x. Distribute would be 2x cubed minus x squared. There's a 1 there if we need it. And plus 5x. Subtract. This cancels. Minus minus would turn to plus. And 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Drop down. And go again. We need 2x squared to look like 6x squared. So that would need a 3. Distribute to be 6x squared minus 3x, positive 15. Subtract. This cancels. Minus minus turns to plus, which cancels. 15 minus 15 cancels. So remainder of nothing. So we just get a quotient of x plus 3. Yay. So anyway, before kind of looking into this, I did not know how to do synthetic with a quadratic divisor. I think it does save time. So kind of cool. Alrighty. I hope this was helpful and that you're having a great day. See you soon.